They took away my live access until next Sunday, so I'll have to sing like this for now. But don't worry, it's a good song. Somebody Hates Me by a band named Real Big Fish. You ever feel that way, especially in court? No matter what you do. Understand something that I did, or was there one of my jokes that you didn't get? Or do you think you got the way I think? I'll figure it out. What did I say to make you feel not cool? Well, I know, no matter what, no matter who, no matter what I do, somebody hates me. Somebody hates me, somebody hates me. Somebody hates me, somebody hates me, and I hate somebody too. I know it's wrong, I do it too, well, I do it too. I should say though, don't let it get to you. Woo! Reading statutory codes, we are going to be using certain maxims of law and certain doctrines or rules of construction, how they can construct statutory, law, statutes. And one of those is noscitur e socis. And this is a rule of construction. The meaning of an unclear or ambiguous word, as in a statute or contract, should be determined by considering the words with which it is associated in the context. So for our example with the word person, the North Dakota Century Code, Title 12.1-01, and then we'll go to -01 again. You're in luck if you're living in on the land of North Dakota, because this is where we're going to be learning most of our stuff. So in this section, it is number 23, and we're finding person includes, where relevant. These are filler, useless, meaningless words to make you intimidated to not use this tool to your advantage. But make no mistake, person means corporation or legal entity. The other words around it is and applying to person is how we identify the meaning and the constructed statute, the meaning of the constructed statute through noscitur e socis, because it was determined by considering the words with which it is associated in the context. Noscitur e socis is a Latin expression in which noscere means to know and socis means association. Thus, noscitur e socis implies to know from association. Okay. Favorite resources, if you followed me at all, is law.cornell.edu. We'll use that for ejusdem generis. This is a Latin phrase that means of the same kind. And so with these constitutional construction principles, or the statutory construction principle of ejusdem generis, it states that where general words or phrases follow a number of specific words or phrases, the general words are specifically construed as limited and apply only to persons or things of the same kind or class as those expressly mentioned. So, for example, if a law refers to automobiles, trucks, tractors, motorcycles, and other motor-powered vehicles, a court might use ejusdem generis to hold that such vehicles would not include airplanes because the list included only land-based transportation. So if you had something like, saying corporation, limited liability company, partnership, unincorporated association, or other legal entity, we could not reasonably lump in living, breathing, flesh and blood man or woman in with this list. We couldn't put human being in this list. I know the legal definition. I'm not going to go into. I'm not talking about monster, okay? But using ejusdem. We are using, ejusdem generis to rebut the presumption that the word person means anything except for a legal entity, right? We cannot lump living, breathing, flesh and blood men and women in with this definition, which we'll go into in a second as to why that's important. As a quick little overview and just a reminder, or I guess I should have started with this in the first place, but let's just check out Title 9. The definitions are usually going to be the very first item, and they are what dictates how this section or this title is classifying things and how to it has the definitions, obviously, right? And then you can use those definitions to interpret this law correctly. And as you just saw, sometimes certain words that we're used to in the English language aren't actually how they are defined and being used against you improperly in the how it is written. So we can actually take how it is written to prove that they are misapplying a certain ordinance or what have you to something that it doesn't apply to. And that is how we can use the definitions to our advantage. They are using the confusion of, in this particular example, of the word person in order to have us voluntarily self-identify as a legal entity such that they can interact with us and contract with us. Okay, but they can't. All right, so that is how I like to comb through. So we looked at person. We're also going to look up what the definition of motor vehicle is, what operator is, what a driver is. We're going to find out that it all has to do with commerce. They always say that we're operating a motor vehicle. We're going to find out that that means performing commerce on a public roadway, which means getting paid to do the behavior. But if we're actually just going from A to B, that is a protected activity. In fact, in North Dakota, part of our Constitution, in Article 1, Declaration of Rights, it's actually Section 1. We're going to read this in the very next video. We also are going to look at Section 7, and that's what I wanted to mention to you, that if you're just simply going from work to home or from home to work, and somebody is, any person, corporation, or agent thereof maliciously interfering or hindering in any way with you enjoying employment already obtained, they're going to be deemed guilty of a misdemeanor. Really want to force their hand as a corrupt policy enforcer. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons and things to be seized. So if they just pull you over willy-nilly and arrest you, even just getting pulled over, we're going to get into what emergency lights are and what they should be used for, and we're going to get into what you need to actually interact with people, which is probable cause or reasonable articulable suspicion. And then if they want to arrest you, they're going to need a warrant, and they're going to need probable cause in support of a warrant, and that is going to be on an oath or an affirmation written out and sworn before penalty of perjury, and they're going to need all of that to drag you away into jail before, and they do put us in jail before a conviction. So we're wrongfully imprisoned, and there's a bunch of things that are going on that are unacceptable anymore. And so Section 8 of North Dakota Constitution outlines that of the warrant, the probable cause, and how an arrest is supposed to go. And they cannot just steal your property off of you and take your property away from you for almost a year now and keep it in a lockup. They can't steal your truck and your gun off of you just because you didn't have a license plate. And we're going to get into all of that. We're using my example as the example, but this is how you read through your Constitution, and that's how you read through and find things in your codes of the century code. So that you can see this, they look kind of similar, but and that's just because they're in a PDF format, I suppose. But we have constitutions, which are the founding documents, and then we have statutory laws, which are what prosecutors are going to privilege when they are attacking you with their, essentially what amounts to being a, quasi-criminal, in my opinion, frivolous legal simulation, which is what a criminal would do. So it's an ongoing criminal organization, and we're going to just keep fleshing this out until we all comprehend the truth of that. And in our next video, we're going to talk about what is in the constitutions, and they're going to be every constitution is very similar to other states as well, and they're all based off of the United States Constitution, which we will also look at. And then we're going to coming up, we're going to be looking at the United States Code, particularly in Title 18 and Title 42. So stick around for that next video. Thank you.